Hey, what's going on, folks? So Coffeezilla just released this video on his second channel, Voidzilla, fully detailing the situation that took place where he thought that he was covered in the case that he got sued frivolously, and that's why he bought something called media liability insurance. Now, I've said in previous videos, I have this sort of insurance myself. I'm covered under that. Scott Shafer has it. Me, Kevin has it. There's a few YouTubers out there who have it. However, something very interesting happened, and it really made me think of one particular YouTuber, and that YouTuber's name is Scott Shafer, okay? And I'm not the only one who feels this way. So, Coffeezilla explained that when Logan Paul sued him, he filed the claim, and his insurance company said, we're not covering you because what you didn't know is in the fine print, it says that we'll cover you for everything except for defamation. Defamation, we don't have to cover you. It was in the fine print, which for those who don't know, so I work in insurance, and I'm not going to act like I know everything just because I work for an insurance company. But what I will say is when it comes to insurance, you definitely want to read your policies. And when I say read your policies, you typically get something called the declarations pages. That's typically where you find all the details related to your coverage. That's typically the stuff that's like 30, 40, 50 pages long, but it's still important to read all of that just so you can fully know everything that goes into your coverage. Because unfortunately, in the insurance world, yes, there are a lot of instances where insurance companies will either try to get out of paying a claim or they will refuse to pay a claim. However it goes, that happens. And so when Coffeezilla first posted this video, and he basically said that he had been paying tens of thousands of dollars to this insurance company just for them to not cover him, I immediately thought of Scott Shafer. And somebody actually posted a comment that got a lot of likes right here. This person right here on the Coffeezilla's video posted, I'm a little worried about Scott Shafer now. And I agree. I immediately thought about Scott Shafer when this situation happened, and I'm going to tell you why. And it's not just Scott Shafer. I want to make it clear. The main purpose of this video is for anybody else who, you know, is a YouTuber or may not have fully considered or thought about this. But I think that what happened with this Coffeezilla thing fully exposes that a lot of us YouTubers thought that we might have been safe because we had media liability insurance. Turns out you're not. And I'll go deeper into that because let's say, because I'm sure what Scott would probably say, Scott's pushback would probably be, well, I read the fine print in my media liability insurance, and I know for a fact that my media liability insurance will 100% cover me in the case of a lawsuit. That's very possible. I'm sure there's a bunch of different insurance companies out there that would do that type of insurance. So I'm sure that if you're with a different company than the one Coffeezilla was with, you very well may have it where it's in the fine print that they would cover you in the event that you get sued and you would be fine. However, there's still some downsides to having media liability insurance, and I kind of wanted to talk about it. Some of the downsides to having media liability insurance is one, they're not going to hire the greatest lawyer ever. Typically, if you get sued by some fake guru or somebody that has a lot of money or some company that you called out or whatever, typically they're going to have a pretty good lawyer. They're going to have some lawyer that either an outside law firm that they pay big bucks to, or they're going to have an in-house general counsel that probably makes like $400,000, $500,000 a year that they pay specifically to do this type of work. And so when you get an insurance company, yes, the insurance company will pay for your legal fees. You won't have to pay anything. But what they'll typically do is they'll hire, you know, not the best lawyer. They'll hire like some average lawyer with some average law firm. And typically what tends to happen is they will try to get you to settle. My biggest issue is that with that is in a lot of these cases, to me, settling would not be beneficial to the person who is being sued. I actually think if you get sued by some fake guru, you got to stick it to them. You got to fight them to the end and you got to win. I think that's the best outcome because if you win your lawsuit, you are no longer a target now that people know that you can defend yourself. If people know that you're vulnerable and can't defend yourself, you're in trouble. And that's why with Coffeezilla, he's absolutely got some risks as well, because now that he's vocalized, and I'm not criticizing him. Of course, I love Coffeezilla and the work that he does, but I'm just giving my opinion here. Now that Coffeezilla has vocalized that his media liability insurance will not cover him and he has to spend out of his own pocket, that could possibly, or at the very least, it opens him up to more risk that maybe other people that he's called out or exposed in the past may come after him. And so let's just bring this full circle to Scott. So my biggest thing with Scott on why I think that Scott Schaefer might be in trouble here is because if you actually look at Scott's content, Scott, in my opinion, is under a little bit more risk than Coffeezilla, which might sound crazy, right? Because I get it. Coffeezilla has a way bigger following. He's got like 3 million subscribers or whatever. He's got a crazy following, right? He goes after a lot of gurus and CEOs and everything. He goes after all kind of people, right? My thing, though, is what Scott Schaefer tends to do, which I've noticed, and you can see right here with this car shield video, Scott Schaefer not only has a pretty large following, he's got like 160 something, 164,000 followers. Some of his videos have gotten millions of views. Some of his videos have got hundreds of thousands of views. He gets enough views where if he makes a video about a company, he will immediately be on their radar. And the danger of making videos about companies or organizations as opposed to individuals is it's so much easier for a company like CarShield to sue you because they have in-house counsel. They literally have in-house counsel that they could just, you work for me, sue him. Send him a cease and desist, whatever. They don't even really have to pay anybody, and at least pay extra money at this point because they already have in-house counsel. So I think Scott's risk of people going after him is heightened even more, especially when you consider the fact that, well, now we know that media liability insurance is kind of janky. It's really not all that great. You know, you got folks like Coffeezilla who, you know, the media liability insurance company wouldn't even cover him. Like it's just a janky insurance. So I just thought about Scott Shafer because it's like, okay, he went after CarShield. CarShield apparently threatened to sue him. They, you know, the legal counsel sent him like emails and stuff like that. And then there was another company he went after called Colonial Penn, which he exposed them. And as you can see, that video got 475,000 views. And then he posted another video where he said Colonial Penn tried to silence me. And that's not even the only instance. There's been so many times where Scott Shafer has been threatened to be sued, whether it was by these companies or it was by Caleb Hammer. Yeah, so I made a video about the whole Scott Schaefer, Caleb Hammer situation where Caleb Hammer, who's like this big financial YouTuber, had some certain allegations against him, and Scott basically made a video about it, and I made a video about it, and under my comment section, both of them were going back and forth, and Caleb was literally, you know, threatening to sue Scott Schaefer via email. So he's been threatened to be sued by Caleb Hammer. He had the whole situation with established titles, which is basically when he first blew up on YouTube. And, you know, I'm just bringing this all up to just kind of say that, you know, I think that all of us as YouTubers, you don't even have to be a scam exposer or a grifter slayer or whatever they call us, right? I just think that in this YouTube space, I think most YouTubers need to look at what happened with Coffeezilla and kind of use it as a learning experience and just really think about what you're doing before you do it and just think about the risk that are coming. Because in my opinion, being sued really isn't worth it. Because I hate to say this, but I actually think that the scam exposing space, it's important. You do good work. But in the United States of America, most people don't really care. You may have a small faction of people who actually care about whatever scam you're exposing, but I actually think that most people are just kind of there for the drama. And unless that specific scam is directly affecting them, most people don't care, because in the United States of America, most Americans only care about themselves. And that's just the truth. People only care about things that'll benefit them or themselves or helping themselves or whatever. And again, I'm not saying that's everybody. That's not every single person in the United States. But a large faction of the population feels that way. And so you may get all these supportive comments and, you know, you may get all these people that, you know, say whatever about the situation. But even just look right here. Look at Scott Schaefer's video. His video where he exposed Colonial Penn got way more views than his video where he said Colonial Penn tried to silence me. Because at the end of the day, most of the people who watch just don't care. They don't care that they're going to sue you. That's how this whole thing works. Like, I mean, shout out to Coffeezilla. Coffeezilla's in a specific situation where he's built up so much goodwill. He has such a huge following that he's going to have a lot of people that are going to support him. My biggest worry is that if you are a smaller creator and you are doing this kind of work and you are going after these people, which Scott Schaefer has a big channel, but it's significantly smaller compared to Coffeezilla. I just think that in the event that Scott Schaefer or any other YouTuber got sued for that matter, and it could be a smaller YouTuber even than Scott Schaefer, it could even be me. I just think that your chances of getting real help, whether it be a GoFundMe or selling t-shirts like Coffeezilla, you wouldn't be able to raise as much money because you don't have as big of a following. You may raise some money, but for those who don't know, lawsuits are miserable. I've seen them play out. I've covered them on this channel. They are horrible. There was a guy named Real P&L. Shout out to him. His name is Carl. There was a guy named Real P&L on YouTube. He's been getting sued for the last like 2 years. The lawsuit is still going on. The man got sued 2.5 years ago, and he's still fighting the lawsuit. It's not over. He still has to pay money to fight the lawsuit. It's crazy. Spencer Cornelia got sued. I think his lawsuit is finally over. I don't even know if it's finally over. I think it is. No, actually, I'm almost certain that his lawsuit is over. But Spencer Cornelia ended up fighting this lawsuit for about 2.5 years. And Spencer Cornelia came on my channel and revealed to me the fact that he not only had to spend about $300,000 to defend himself, he also had to take on like $50,000 in credit card debt. He got to the point where he was running out of money so much that he had to start a GoFundMe finally, even though he originally did not do a GoFundMe. He went 2 entire years not doing a GoFundMe, and then he just got to a point where he just literally ran out of money. And Spencer also revealed when he came on my channel that all the money he made on the last like 2 years that he was on YouTube, all those millions of views and all that ad revenue, all those sponsorships, all of that money went directly to defending himself in the lawsuit. And so when you just account for all that stuff, it's just like, man, I'm not so sure it's worth it at this point, to be honest with you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think exposing scams is a noble cause, but I just think that if you're a smaller creator, you just have so much more risk. And let's say that you're a smaller creator who has some money. Fine. Let's say that, hey, Echoes, thank you for the tips, but I'm not broke. I have money. Okay, fine. Most people aren't millionaires, right? Duh. Okay. So let's say you got 100 to 200K. Let's say you're like, I have the money to defend myself. Okay. If you get sued and you have to spend all the money you've saved up to defend yourself to the point where you have like $20,000 left out of that 200K you saved, or you have nothing, isn't that still pretty depressing? That the money you worked hard to get had to go to some scummy lawyer? Because at the end of the day, when it comes to these lawsuits, the only people who ever win in a lawsuit is the lawyers. That's it. The plaintiff don't win. The defendant don't win. The lawyers win every time because you're going to pay them a crap ton of money. They're not being sued. They're just making all this money and charging you $1,000 an hour to do all these filings and all this paperwork and whatever else they do. And it's just like, man, it's just not really worth it. So the ultimate thing that I want to say in this video is, for Scott Shafer, I just think that, some sort of pivot or change in strategy is necessary, because my thing is, if you're getting threatened all these times, it's inevitable that eventually somebody will sue you. I actually believe that. I actually think that in the grifter slang space, period, and the scam exposing space. I mean, think about it. Most scam exposers have been sued. You can't name very many who have been sued. Think about it. Spencer Cornelia, one of the biggest scam exposers on YouTube, he got sued. Meet Kevin started off as a scam exposer. He was exposing Grant Cardone and a bunch of other people. Meet Kevin got sued. Coffeezilla finally got sued. It's only a matter of time as you continue to do this work of exposing people and calling people scammer. Even if you're right, that's the sad thing about this country. Even if you're right, you can still get sued. That's the sad thing. There's just no protection for people who report and do honest reporting on people who actually scam people. The only people who can actually expose somebody for scamming people and getting scammed is the United States government. It would be like the SEC or the Department of Justice. Those are the only people who can actually really expose a scam and charge them with it and all that and not suffer any repercussions. If any of us do it, even if it's right, even if we have undeniable proof that that person is a scammer and scam people, we can still get sued for everything we got and our lives could be ruined, which is what Spencer Cornelia literally came on my channel and said, that his life essentially got ruined because of that lawsuit from this guy named Derek Moneyberg. So I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts and opinions on this, because I just think it's so crazy that, you have so many YouTubers, including myself, who thought that this media liability insurance would help you. And it turns out it's not all that it's cracked up to be. At the end of the day, you're honestly better off just scrounging money together and paying for good legal defense than going with the media liability insurance and getting some rinky-dink lawyer that's just going to try and make you settle anyway. So anyway, the bottom line is just, be more strategic. Think about what you're doing on YouTube before you do it. And that goes for me, by the way. Trust me, I have definitely done some self-reflections and thought about what I'm going to do with my channel going forward, because trust me when I say you don't want to be sued. It's not even you don't want to be sued. Being sued just isn't worth it. It's so stressful. It's so grueling. It's so miserable. It costs so much money. It just ain't worth it, you know? So anyway, that's today's video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.